All right, Auburn fans, this is a great day in the Deep South. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger or Eagle. All right, so for the month of January, of course, Broderick Jones, the number 2 offensive lineman in the country, has been kind of on tour with visits to Illinois, visits to Arkansas, and recently a visit to a university that he's already hard committed to. At the beginning of the month, though, Auburn was very highly anticipatory in a visit from the said Broderick Jones in hopes to, especially after a very successful early signing period, was, kind of putting themselves in a position where they would be able to put a little more effort in possibly snagging a guy like Broderick Jones, which is still not out of the realm of opportunity. Now, the biggest news right now is the fact that Broderick Jones has, quote unquote, canceled his visit to Auburn, which would lead the typical follower of this whole program to say, okay, well, he decides not to come to Auburn, so does that mean he's officially shut down his recruitment? Now, in my honest opinion, I don't think this, I think it said some things, but at the same time, you got to look at Broderick Jones plays basketball. Broderick Jones actually had a basketball game last night, which I was always kind of iffy on the whole visit anyway, because he had a basketball game scheduled for that night. Of course, he could have made a visit today, but I'm just saying, like, at this point of the recruitment, you pretty much know what you want to do. Now, he still has not he still has not signed any letter of intent. There have been no commentary on the reasons behind the cancellation of Auburn. As if you look at any Auburn news outlets, there's no real big story to say, okay, Broderick Jones. It just doesn't seem like Broderick Jones say cancel as a slap in the face of Auburn University. Okay, unlike what many fans and many maybe Georgia media outlets may try to say. Because Georgia really wants this guy, and I still don't believe that the typical Georgia fan is fully sold on his commitment this coming week on the 5th of February. I think they're very hopeful. I think they're a little bit more hopeful than they were before, but it's still a little bit on the iffy side. You're talking the number 2 offensive lineman in the country who could be successful at Auburn. I think Auburn has done a great job of recruiting, as has Georgia done over the past few years. The Auburn-Georgia rivalry has kind of suffered a little bit, as Georgia has pretty much dominated over the past few years. Auburn with wins only in 2013 and 2017 since Gus Malzahn's tenure. So it's actually about time for Auburn to gain a little bit of ground in this particular rivalry, which they call the Deep South's oldest rivalry. And if you think about it, these two teams compete way, way, way more off the field, because if you look at Auburn's roster, a great majority of the players, or a good portion of the personnel, actually are natives of the state of Georgia. And if you think about Auburn proximity-wise, Auburn rests just inside of the state of Alabama on the east central portion. And exit 51 in Auburn is 28 miles, only 28 miles from the Georgia state line. As a matter of fact, there are portions of that part of Alabama that are actually on Eastern time because they're so close. If you look at where the Chattahoochee River kind of lines up, a lot of Alabama cities along that base are actually on Eastern time. So that kind of shows you proximity-wise of the state of Georgia to the city of Auburn. As a matter of fact, Auburn has been very successful up 85, headed to Atlanta, snagging some guys out of Troup County, snagging some guys out of Callaway High School. Much more convenient for Auburn to visit these guys because they don't have to deal with the traffic of Atlanta when you're trying to navigate through probably, I'll say Gwinnett County is one of the, in Georgia, is one of the hotbeds recruiting-wise. That's where Derek Brown is from. That's where Owen Papo, guys like those are from. So a lot of good talent there. But Auburn is really kind of pushing the envelope, trying to take a chance with Broderick Jones and Georgia as well, really pushing the envelope, because Auburn does need some offensive linemen. But I still think, and this is not as a consolation, because I think Auburn really needs this guy. But if Auburn doesn't snag Broderick Jones, it's not like it's going to put any kind of dent in its recruitment. I think Auburn has done an excellent job recruiting-wise. And when you look at Broderick Jones, he's not going to be eligible for practice until the fall. So he could be, a good portion of Auburn's offensive linemen will participate in spring training, including Avery Jernigan. So, I think Auburn is in pretty good shape offensive line-wise. Of course, an athlete like Broderick Jones would be beneficial, and it's still not out of the realm of opportunity for Broderick Jones to pull the flip on this coming week. February 5th is the National Signing Day. But like I said before, he did not visit Auburn. And to be honest, I just can't put a lot of stock in this, because, like I said, he plays basketball, and he had a game last night, and the kid, he has the right to get tired and say, hey, you know what? I've been to Auburn. I've seen all that I want to see. He's probably exhausted. The dude has been to Arkansas, Illinois, and Georgia. All of this in 1 month, to not visit Auburn, I don't think is the end of the world. Because, what is there to see? You've been there before. You know what the coaching staff is all about. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Best wishes to Broderick Jones, because I can imagine as a high school kid, this is a hard decision to make. You're talking about literally being a native of Georgia, growing up in Lithonia, Georgia, and I rub shoulders with a lot of these people here in this area, and these are some diehard Georgia fans over here. You know what I'm saying? And for him to be a native of Georgia and potentially, his whole family may even be Georgia fans and Georgia followers. He grew up supporting Georgia. And for him to making a flip like this, it's got to be at least uncomfortable, to say the least. All right, guys, here we go again. Let's go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We got some stuff on Auburn's quarterback situation coming up soon. I'm not too sure about the depth of the quarterback going into the 2020 season, although I think Bo Nix is set up, especially with Auburn making an effort to be good around him from a personnel standpoint. We just want to know what happens if Bo Nix struggles or if Bo Nix is injured. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as time progresses, but right now the hot topic is recruiting. Like I said before, go ahead and click the bell. Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. As always, great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.